This is the second half of Pod 5, the final Unity project, and this was to be augmented across two museum artifacts. The first was a Dawson painting which we couldn't get to track correctly. The augmented software couldn't find enough detail in the painting to get a reliable, steady track to. And we wanted to have this as a scene that was happening on the tapestry fragment below the painting. And we had to go from the painting to the tapestry and this umbrella scene in one full sweep from the iPad looking at a painting down to the tapestry. Because the painting didn't track, we tried various methods of doing 3D tracks, tracking using the outline only of the painting. None of them really worked well. So what we had to do in the end was introduce graphics behind the painting so that we could get a better track on some of the graphical elements that were behind the painting, so that we could then do a 3D track from the painting all the way down onto a tapestry, so that we could introduce and augment flames onto the Dawson painting and have the user pull the iPad down to the tapestry, which was on the floor where the this umbrella scene would happen. So this is the final scene. It's one guy has just raided and looted the palace and has taken some tapestry from the palace, and he's selling it outside at 2 shillings a yard to passers-by. We were looking to get quite a theatrical feel to it, which is why the umbrellas don't have any people on them, and that was reflected in the gallery space itself, with umbrellas being placed in and around the exhibition. We spent quite a bit of time getting the umbrellas to look nice and wet, and also the floor, so we've got quite a few rain splashes going on. Originally we built the umbrellas very high polygon density in the millions, and then had to reduce that down to 100 polygons and use texture maps to make it look like the rain was on the umbrellas and shiny and wet in certain parts. And I think in the gallery it works quite well, as people can move the iPad around and see the different reflections off the umbrella and off the floor catch the light. We used clouds around the actual focus of this scene just to mask some parts of the gallery out that were interfering with the visuals, such as the carpet and any parts of the museum gallery that we didn't want visible within the scene. We used a poster which would fly down and land on the ground to try and draw the focus of the user from the Dawson painting down to this scene. And once this scene had finished, we used the poster again to try and draw the viewer's eye back up to the room environment. The main problem we had with this image and trying to get a track on it, a stable track, was that the top half of the image is really just a gradient of colour, and there's nothing in this area whatsoever that the software picks up on as focusing or as a point to track. The bottom half is very dull and dark, and again there isn't really anything that the software will pick up on to get a stable track. The painting of the actual palace in the middle, it tracks a little bit, but not enough to sustain a solid track that you could augment something over. So the way we got around this was to increase the graphical detail around the painting in what we mounted the painting onto, and really we're tracking the background of the painting, or rather than the actual painting itself, and that did eventually lead to a stable enough track We introduced non-reflective glass to the painting as well to try and help, but there just wasn't enough detail, unfortunately, in the painting itself to sustain a track, which is why we had to go for looking at different avenues of tracking, such as 3D, and including the background of the image